All right, this A major straight from the 242, and you with TIMMAY watching Who Dat.
On the weekend, the weekend, party, party, party on the weekend. Drink all night, drinks all nights on the weekend, weekend, on the weekend. Welcome back to Who That. It's your boy Timmy here with A Major. He had lifestyle, so A Major, you home. You know, you never home. Talk. How you doing this right now?
Everything's good. I feeling good. I'm getting a lot of good responses on my album, what I just dropped, my debut album. Everything's great. I in good spirits. I ain't gonna lie.
So I always had to ask artists where that major come from, but I assume it's a real name. A Major, where that come from?
My name is Anthony Major Smith. So the A major just came from my first name and the first half of my last name, and it relates to a chord and a scale in music. So that's where I really related it.
Nothing too fancy, but it still comes to music.
Yeah, nice and simple, but still relates to music.
So talk to us about your music background. I always talk to artists. Some grew up in this church, some just listen to radio, some heard the first CD their parents bought. Who did you hear? What did you see? Where was it that you found your love for music?
Kind of combination of a lot of things. I grew up with my mommy always making me sing all over the place, whether it was church, weddings, housewarmings, anything, whatever.
Yeah, you a poppy show.
Yeah, real poppy show for real. But I just I never liked it, but at the end of the day, I realized my passion for it was a bit, higher than I expected. But I ended up performing at national arts festivals, winning nothing less than second place. I ended up in Grand Bahama Youth Choir as a lead soloist for a number of years, and I ended up performing a number of places around the world. And when I moved to Nassau permanently, I started recording like full time, and that's where I really began to love writing and actually recording music.
It sounds like you have a really legit background. You actually was like in choirs and you've been traveling, so you have a real
Instruments,
background.
all that. My mom used to make me do everything because she wanted me to have a musical background. She believed in that.
Shouts to moms. Talk to me about the instruments that you know how to play and your favorites.
I grew up and I started with the piano, and then she wanted me to practice another one, so I did saxophone. And at this point, I know how to play the saxophone by ear, and I know how to play the piano by ear. And school is now getting me back into sight reading the piano, but I'm better with the piano, I would say, but I could still pick up the saxophone and play whatever. I should be practicing, but yeah.
And it's crazy. You're one of I've had do that for 3 years, about 60 artists, and you're about probably only the third or fourth artist I know who's actually this level of training with music. So talk to me about how important that is as an artist to be able to have that level of that knowledge of music.
I think it's really important, not just because you know what you're doing, but you know what you're talking about. Like, when you get around certain people in the industry, and even people who aren't in the industry, people who know what they're doing, like the vocabulary that you use, whether it's working with certain softwares or working with certain instruments, you know what you're saying and you know what you're doing at the same time. So it's good to be literate in that type of aspect.
You said full sale. Talk about full sale because people don't understand like how legit and serious full sale is. Like every time a movie comes out, full sale always posts how these former students worked on this movie. So like full sale is legit. You would be joining the ranks of someone like Lovato Stubbs, make films at war, who attended full sale. So talk to me, and who did it for film, but you're doing it for music. Talk to me about how you got the full sale, your experience here so far, your schooling, like how is that translated to what you do right now?
Well, right now I'm taking up the Bachelor's of Arts in Music Production at Full Sail, and I got there. I was actually in COB to begin with, but I dropped out and I started working for a while, and then eventually my producer he came to me, and he wasn't my full-time producer at that point, but he was more like a friend, a brother to me, and he basically told me, I'm at Full Sail right now. And his brother had already graduated from Full Sail, and he told me, it's something for you. And I eventually looked it up. School has a great reputation. I took 2 tours.
Trust me, I know I tried to go there, but I know that price ain't easy.
The price ain't easy, but I got a couple scholarships under my belt, so, Yeah, that really helped. And mommy, I can't give enough thanks to her for what she did to get me to where I need to be. But yeah, Full Sail had a great reputation, and I really loved it. And mommy believed in me, so that's where I kind of pushed her towards it, and it doing great right now. So Full Sail has a great reputation. They teach you everything you need to know. They make sure you get inclined to work in the music industry because they have 24-hour lessons or whatever. I'd be there until 1 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning, whatever. So it's just like it gets you really used to what you got to do in the future.
Drink with me, baby. Drink with me, baby. Talk to me about your debut album just dropped a few weeks ago, a few days ago. The Weekend. Talk to me first about the title. Why the Weekend?
The Weekend, which just dropped August 19th, SoundCloud, Apple Music, iTunes, Tidal, Spotify. It's really based on a weekend dedicated to maybe not just one girl, but possibly a number of girls. And nothing specific, but it's really about, boys often end up in mischief, and we end up in situations where we would call it, maybe, I don't know, a mission, or we end up, I really, in the weekend, I take you from Thursday to Sunday. It starts off like where you just cooling out and you just chilling. We end up drinking, whatever, smoking, whatever have you. I trying to speak for everybody who, delves into this weekend. And at the end of it, I try to bring it closer to home, whereas to say, this isn't really the life that I want to live, but this is what I'm doing in the moment. And it's a lot more that I could say about it, but that's really the whole grasp of it.
Talk to me about the songwriting production. I realized it's through a lot of live instruments. I think I heard throughout the music. So talk to me about the process, like how long did it take you to record it? And talk to me about some of the inspirations you had, maybe like specific experience you had for the writing and then the production.
Well, you might be surprised to know that only two of the songs have live instrumentation on them. That's track number 7 and the last track number 13, Ready and um, Better. And one of the tracks has a bass guitar, and one of them has a live lead guitar. And we basically, Full Sail has a number of students that actually play instruments, so we got in contact with some of these people, and we got one named Javier. He played the lead guitar, and one of our own. He's from Freeport, Grand Bahama, and he played the bass guitar on the last track of it. And it's just about connections, people who we know, and they actually were, honored to be a part of the project. So we just got it through. But other than that, Chavez, Parker, my producer, my brother, we got together and we did every single thing that we could possibly do on the production side. Everything was in the software that we use. Softwares have certain live instruments that you can play, and the way you mix it, you could make it sound like live instruments or make it sound as best as possible. So kudos to my producer, he really did his thing.
Got a lot of towels if you get a little wet. Who about to come first? We can make a little bet. Hold up, I know I get up at 30. I know that you don't need a clock to show me 30. Let's see if my bed is sturdy enough. Yeah. If you don't like it slow, then I can make it a bit rough. Yeah. Don't get comfortable, no falling in. So you're in full civil production, but then this you're singing on this singing, rapping songs on this part. How much of the production on this were you actually involved in?
I actually produced one of the tracks fully. That was the 10th track, Your Body Part 2, which led it into So High. And I I just went one day, and because I have a song named Your Body that was produced by one of my friends from Orlando. Well, he's not from Orlando, but I met him there at Full Sail, and he made the beat But one day I just sat by his house, and I'm there for music production, so I should know what I'm doing. But I went in there and I went by his house and I just sat there at the keyboard and I made what I could do, and I asked Chavez to mix it and make sure everything was solid. But that's what I was hands on with. But with the other ones, it was just really orchestration. I made sure everything was sounding the way I wanted, the way I envisioned it, because I had vision for this project before I put it out there, and I had a vision for this project before I even mentioned it to Chavez. So he was just, honored to be a part of this, and basically we produced every single thing on it.
And what caught my eye, I always tell people I'm a visual person, and I like the artwork. I told you on Twitter that the first time I saw the artwork reminded me of my favorite Kendrick Lamar album, Section 80. So did y'all get that from that, or was that just y'all coming
It was
together?
an inspiration to me. Chavez doesn't listen to much Kendrick Lamar, but I do. I listen to a lot of Kendrick Lamar, so that was definitely inspiration to me. The scattered items around in the Kendrick Lamar Section 80 album, it was definitely inspiration, and I decided to kind of put my own thing on it. So I said, let's sit down, put the Bahamian flag on the table, put everything that you could possibly have in a weekend's time: my keys, my wallet, my bear, backward. But I just put the things on the flag, and I said, take a picture of that, edited it, and we did it like that. I just
It was you or was Chavez who did the artwork?
Oh, I edited the artwork, and we kind of both put everything in place, yeah. But I edited it, yeah.
So I like the fact that y'all are really this 4D Drake. Y'all just really like this tandem duo. Talk to me about who else you've worked with outside, like even production wise, even songwriting wise, you work with outside of y'all too.
I work with a lot of people. Shout out to Twin Nam. I work with Twin Nam. I work with Travis Bow. He was supposed to be a part of this project. Because of some difficulties, he wasn't able to complete the project with me. Travis Bow, Lord Ryan, a lot of people, Jamal, Demo Lottie, as one of my most reliable people. He's out, he's from Virginia actually. Met him when I went to Full Sail. A lot of people. Production-wise, Chavez. Like I said, Michael played the bass. Javier played the lead guitar. Jaya, one of my friends from, basically kept it in the family. My videographer TC, he's the newest addition to the team. And Chaz, Chavez's big brother, who was also one of the engineers of the project. So.
Don't lift a finger, you know I can blow it. Yeah, yeah. You know I'm a poet. We drink it till the morning. Baby, you want another one. I know you could use another one. I think you need another one, baby.
So in conjunction with my friend Victoria Lightburn, she owns Bahama Bows, and so she wants me to give one of her bow ties to every who that guest. So you told me going to a wedding soon, so maybe you could wear this to the wedding. This is Bahama Bows. She makes it from Bahamian material, so that's your one tie.
Okay, I appreciate it.
And just let people know where they can find you on social media.
Or you can find me on every platform: SoundCloud, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat at The Real A Major, spelled sounded English. The Real A Major. I appreciate it though.
So next time you'll see him dressed up in the tie, that came from Bahama Boys. So this A Major, download the weekend on everything. This is TIMMAY, and you're watching Who Dat?
If I take another shot right now, I might get out of place. Between the liquor and the women in this spot right now, I did not come to chase. But you got me breaking all my rules. And I would be a fool if I left you alone. But I would be worse if I was to condone. But I'm in my zone.